Customers at 4 grocery stores and pharmacies in Alberta and Saskatchewan are being greeted by workers wearing body cameras. For the next 3 months, employees at select Real Canadian Superstore and Shoppers Drug Mart locations in Calgary and Saskatoon are going to wear the devices while they're on the job. Loblaws is partnering with security company Axon for the pilot, which is aimed at deterring the growing problem of shoplifting. For more this morning, we are joined by retail expert Doug Stevens. Doug, good to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you, Anne-Marie. Thank you.
It's a fascinating story with potentially far-reaching repercussions. So the Retail Council of Canada tracks shoplifting in the country, and they say these numbers are on the rise and the incidents are turning violent. It found a 300% increase in violent retail thefts. That's just since 2019. Can you describe for us a little bit more, when they're talking about incidents, what is happening in this country?
Yeah, so there's no question that retail theft is on the rise. Virtually every metric that we look at that tracks this sort of behavior shows the same thing. We're seeing crime on the rise at retail. And I think it's really taking 2 forms. We're seeing more organized crime, so crime rings that literally prey on retailers. And then we're also seeing just a reaction, I think, to the high prices that we've seen and some people acting purely out of desperation. But regardless of the cause, there's no question that we're seeing more of this behavior in retail stores around the country.
So Axon says its body workforce devices, that's what they call them, are specifically designed for retail employees. So all body cameras are already used in the stores in the US and in the UK. So gathering data from those 2 countries, are they effective in curbing theft?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that was really my first question. You know, do they work? And if they do work, what do they help with? And the truth is, when you turn to research from criminologists, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of research that suggests that body cameras actually deter retail theft. And it sort of makes sense when you think about it, because if you are a person going into a store with the intention to steal, I think you already know that there's closed circuit television, that certainly retailers are on guard for that and have been for decades, right? So there's no real evidence that this deters theft, but I think there's something else at play here. When you turn to research from places like the U.S. National Institute of Justice, they suggest that body cameras actually deter instances of verbal abuse, that they can de-escalate a situation. And I really think that we've seen an awful lot of that as well since the pandemic. Just consumers acting out of sheer frustration, maybe getting out of hand. And I think that this is perhaps to some extent an effort on the part of Loblaws to test this level of security that may give comfort to people working in stores, that this technology might just de-escalate some of those situations. And retail, let's not forget, Anne-Marie, retail is really under pressure from a hiring standpoint. We had a tremendous number of people leave the industry through the pandemic. And so retailers like Loblaws can ill afford to lose more people.
So that's the lens on it as protection for workers. But if you follow another angle on this story, it is being hailed as an anti-theft measure, which is typically handled at the company level by hiring out usually private security. So what concerns are there around body cameras shifting the responsibility of store security away from security companies and onto employees?
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant question. I guess, first of all, there's a learning curve that has to happen. And I know that the Loblaws employees are going to be undergoing training. The extent to which that training reaches, I'm not sure. But certainly, this is new territory for most staff. I think there are perhaps 2 potential problems. One is that you may be emboldening retail staff to intervene in situations that really they ought not to be getting involved in because of the danger involved. But secondly, I think that there's also the potential to disenfranchise customers by virtue of the fact that this may become sort of a hammer and everything looks like a nail. So all of a sudden, you know, will a customer with a perfectly legitimate concern or complaint who approaches an employee find themselves all of a sudden being videotaped as almost a reflex reaction on the part of the employee. That could be bad for business. So I think there are a lot of dimensions to this, and it'll be really interesting to see how it plays out.
I really like that, Doug, where everything looks like a nail. It feels a bit like that's the times that we're living in right now. Great to have you with us, as always.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.